So we're into another week of lockdown and everything's about as depressing as the snowman I built a few days ago. And I've decided to make a video about this lens because for the money you can't beat it, and I sort of wish I could keep it, but it doesn't mount onto this new camera. So before I sell it, I might as well make a video about it. So it's the Sigma 17-50 2.8, and it's only £200, which is a lot of money, but at the same time in the world of lenses is absolutely nothing. And if you're going for if you're expecting a bit of a professional review, don't watch this video. My lav mic failed last week and now I've resorted to this. I know it looks terrible, but everything went black. But anyway, as I was saying, everything's gone wrong, basically. Apart from this lens. So if you were like me when looking at buying this lens, you must have been thinking, where's the catch? Because it's a constant f2.8 aperture. And yes, it only fits onto a crop sensor, but does that really matter? Considering especially I had this on a Blackmagic thing that had about a 2.28 times crop. There's nothing to complain about. The build quality, as you can hear, something rattles, and that's the same as everybody's lens. It doesn't really improve if you turn image stabilization on or off, or autofocus on. It just rattles. But apart from that, it's actually got some really cool features. I mean, it's got a 77mm filter thread, so it's going to be basically the biggest element you'll have on a lens, unless you own a Cook. And yeah, it means you buy one ND filter and adapt it down to your smaller lenses. It's sort of a bit of a lie, the filter thread size, if I do this one-handed, which I sort of can't. As you can see, it's actually 77mm, sort of is bigger than the rest of the lens, so the lens itself is quite small and light, about 500 grams, which is decently light, but it does extend a decent amount when you zoom into 50mm. But it stays light, so do you care? You also get a lock on it. I've never used it. And you also get a bag that is quite nice, but again, who puts their lenses in separate bags? You're just going to put that in a camera bag. Anyway, back to the lens. The focus motor is audible. It's not that loud, so you're pretty good if you're using it for video and you're like this and have a microphone pressed up against your face. But if it's mounted onto a camera with sort of a shotgun mic, it's going to be audible. It's also not great for video if you're using manual focus, which I was. The focus throw is 30 degrees at most. It's not great, but it's decently smooth. There's not a lot of resistance, but you sort of add that back in with a hollow focus, so that doesn't really matter as such. And optically, it's pretty good. There's minimal chromatic aberrations, and the corners stay pretty sharp, to be honest, even at f2.8. It beats the lenses you're probably looking at, which is the Tamron equivalent of this, and it does just get slightly beaten by the Canon variant, non-L. Obviously the L really beats it, but it's like £100 cheaper than the L lens and about the same price as the Tamron. I did have the Tamron before this. It came with my Blackmagic, but it was stuck at f22, and the man from the camera shop said it was completely unrepairable, much like my hopes and dreams after COVID. You also get optical image stabilization, which is probably what that rattle is. It sort of goes away when it is enabled. Going back to optical performance is actually pretty good. Don't go expecting anything that impressive. The corners are soft, but with no aberrations really, so if that's what you're looking for, you're probably good. The thing with this really is that for £200 you get like a 35, a 50 and a wide angle f2.8 prime that is in one package. I mean, your other option really is to go and buy something like this. This cost me like £8. It's an old SLR camera from like a Ricoh, and with a small adapter you can put it on a Canon mount, but you lose autofocus and you've got manual apertures that you can declick actually, which is pretty good with these older lenses. I mean, it really depends on what you're doing. If you're using this for photography though, it's perfect really. It's the perfect size to just have mounted on something like a 70D, and then just walk around with it. I've had no issues with it as far as build quality, apart from the rattle, which is a bit annoying. But everything, it's built like a tank really. I mean, the review's a bit boring because there is nothing bad to say about it, apart from it could be sharper, but it is £200. And the only reason I'm coming to sell it really is because, one, it's a Canon mount, and two, it's not full frame. But say you have like £500 to put together like a beginner camera, whether that be for photography or video. This thing's perfect. You pick up like a 70D or even like a 750D or something, one of these, and then with the change, like one of these, and then like a Rode shotgun, maybe a light. You sorted. There's nothing more you'd really need, and then you'd be sorted really. There is really nothing bad to say about the lens. The only other things you need to know really is autofocus. When it's enabled, you can then not manually focus. It locks itself, which is a bit annoying. Some lenses do allow you the opportunity to do that, and the optical image stabilization is there, but not something that you would find in an L lens or something newer. It's not going to be quite there. But apart from that, your other options at this price point are like the Samyang Cine lenses, and you're only getting one focal length at that point, and a marginally faster aperture. And honestly, once you get to around the 2.8 mark, you have a blurry background. It gets a bit ridiculous if you go a lot more. It also means you basically can't focus. Not even with autofocus really. I mean, if you get some fancy ones in these newer mirrorless cameras, but you're on an older Canon DSLR body. You're not on a new EOS R5 thing. If you have an R5, don't put this on. That's a truly horrible idea. Overall, this was just a quick video because I was just sitting in my house and completely bored out my mind. There's some examples that you saw on the screen. Either buy it or don't. I really don't care, to be honest. It's a free country. I think it's quite good though for the money, especially for a beginner, since it's certainly better than even like the Canon kit lens that they would supply, which is still like too much money. Canon should be arrested for charging that much, especially when you can pick this up. I mean, mine was from a camera shop as well. It was used from a camera shop at £225, I think, with a bit of a warranty, I want to say. Yeah, there's no complaints. I mean, if you want the corners to be slightly sharper and it to be a sharp general lens, go for the Canon variant. It's going to cost you £100 more, but you might be able to find it on a bit of a deal now. That was certainly when I was looking in the past. Yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed this, or it helped, or you just found it mildly entertaining. I was going to go play in the snow, but it's all melted, and I have nothing to do. So if next week's video is me wearing the same clothes, it's probably because I just decided to record another video straight after this. I probably will. But anyway, like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want. Again, I'm not going to force you to. And I'll see you next week with whatever I decide to make. Bye.